I wanted to celebrate Yoga Day, by seeing the news everywhere, Odisha and Konark and everywhere. I saw the news, on post on Instagram, how everyone celebrated Yoga Day, like Maharashtra and all the celebrities and everyone. But yeah, I couldn't, because of my schedule. But that's great. That's great. Dhana Lakshmi ji also says, celebration of International Yoga Day. That's great. Soni ji says lots of activities in school, local education tools. Oh, Malti ji, that's awesome. Education tools are so nice and important. Oh, that's great. That's great, Meena ji. Art integration, Saraswati ji. Got it. Got it. Happy Yoga Day, Meena ji. Yes, definitely. Oh, thanks, Seema ji. Just saw your message. Thank you so much. Means a lot. Gayatri ji, 200 students from my school doing asanas in every synchronized fashion today. Oh, that's great, Gayatri ji. Even when I was in college, even our college, used to practice yoga day like this. In the morning, everybody was called to the hall or the ground, and we used to practice yoga together. It was actually great. It was a nice, relieving feeling, actually. Oh, music day. Oh, yes, today is music day also, Viruchi ji. Yes, I saw the tweet on Twitter. Today is International Music Day as well. How many of you celebrated that? SBI is having a new initiative, 7 minutes to your life for the music day. Even Boat, and Boat, the company Boat, which is for earphones, and the music app Ghana is collaborating, for the music day initiative. So yeah, that's another thing. Thanks for pointing out that, Abhijit ji. Oh my God, Saraswati ji, 1,000 students did yoga. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, Reena ji. Happy yoga day to you as well, and everyone here. All right, what's the time? Oh, it's 6:01. All right, I'm very sorry. All right. Avinash ji, again, awesome, awesome that you all are celebrating Yoga Day, Music Day. Again, as I said, various initiatives by the company board, the music app Ghana, SBI, which is the bank. Many initiatives, even they are taking to celebrate, all these days, and to make it fun and, effective for people. Anyways, topic for another time, as we all say. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, Dhanalakshmi ji. That's great, Praveen ji. That's actually motivating, to hear all these comments. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for interacting with me and making it, a really, really good 2-3 minutes, for everyone, right? Well, starting with the topic for today, the art of storytelling. Okay. Again, wouldn't say ki arts, so I'll tell you something very different. No, 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 no. The topic is very simple. The topic is very general. Okay. Something which you all might have heard, 1,000 times before, 100 times before, right? But what difference will today's topic make is the expectation settings should be key storytelling as a concept. What does it say? What is the importance of storytelling? What is digital storytelling is something which we are gonna discuss, right? Digital storytelling is something which is very important to learn, especially in the 21st century, right? Wherein all the schools, all the classes, all the children are inclining more and more towards digitized or let's say technological stuff, phone, laptops, tabs, other gadgets, computers, etc. Okay, so expectation setting for today's webinar is this, that we'll discuss about the concept of storytelling, the importance, what is digital storytelling. We'll see various tools, or at least one of the tools which could help you for digital storytelling, and certain examples from schools across, right? And how storytelling can be done right in a setting of a classroom is our major focus for today. Yeah. So again, I know this term you might have heard many times before, most of you. So I just want all of you to respond me in a simple yes or no. How many you have heard the term storytelling before? That's great, Seemachi. That's great. Oh, happy yoga day music to you too, ma'am. Meenakshi ji says yes. Okay, how many of you heard this term before? Storytelling. Yeah, as I already said, most of you might have heard this term 1,000 or 100 times before, right? So what we do in today's webinar is not something out of the box or some alien concept, but something which we will discuss in greater details. What is the concept of storytelling, how to apply it, how to implement it, what are the various methods to implement it, which is in and around us and we are not aware of it. And digital storytelling is something which is very interesting and we'll discuss in today's webinar. All right. Again, thank you so much for all your responses, everyone. Before moving ahead in the webinar, right? A simple message from the homework app and team. You get participation certificate for each and every webinar you attend, right? So if you're attending this webinar, there is a participation certificate for this webinar as well. How do you get it? You fill a form at the end of the webinar. I'll send a form link across in the chat box. You fill the form, and within 24 hours, you will get the certificate. Smart Teacher Festival is another opportunity which the Homework app provides all the teachers, wherein you can earn cash rewards worth rupees 1,999, that's 2,000 rupees, and you can win an official certificate from the side of the app or the team, gold, silver, bronze, the various levels of the certificate. But more on the same, we'll talk during the end of the webinar, where I'll explain everyone, what is the Smart Teacher Festival and about the, certification of this webinar, again. All right. Um, cool. So starting with, storytelling as a concept, right? Uh, okay, just reading my text on the screen for the teachers who can't read it or see it because of some internet issue. Storytelling is the vivid description of ideas, beliefs, personal experiences, and life lessons, okay, through stories or narratives that evoke powerful emotions and insights. Stories engage our thinking, emotions, and imagination all at once. As listeners, we participate in the story with both mind and body as we enter the narrative world and react to it. Storytelling is a human art form that teaches about the human experience. Okay? Simple terms, okay? We will not go with these definitions, okay? Simple terms, what is storytelling? Storytelling is something, wherein the educator or the teacher or the individual, okay, they tell a story. They tell, a fictional or a real life story around a particular concept to make the other person understand it in greater depths, right? So, for example, if you are, let's say, an SST teacher, okay, social studies teacher, and you want to teach the students about the concept of honesty and integrity, or you want to teach about feminism, we discussed in our last webinar, right? Concepts like feminism, racism. If you are an SST teacher and you want to discuss about these concepts to students, rather than giving them, rote description, what is racism, what is feminism, etc., you take out, real life examples, maybe George Floyd's example of racism, or maybe other examples, of feminism, wherein people have, done feminist movement in the society to gain their rights, right? Maybe America's feminist movement, wherein women marched on, to get their voting rights in the country, right? So all these kind of examples you can pick up and tell a story, right? Tell it in the form of a story, a narrative, that this started from here. Feminism evolved in the, let's say, feminism evolved, because of the repression which was always existent in the society. Again, various examples connecting to it. And then you go ahead, and explain them, what feminism is and how people wrongly perceive the concept, of racism or feminism or xenophobia, etc. Right? So again, what I'm doing right here as a teacher is I'm explaining the concept to the students, but I'm just taking a story, taking a real life story or a real life narrative and connecting it to my concept, so that it helps the students to better remember the same, later on in life also, right? Right now, if I ask each and every one of you in this webinar, okay, how many of you have heard of Hansel and Gretel? Just say a yes or a no. How many of you have heard, of Hansel and Gretel? No? Okay, no. Hansel and Gretel, no. No, Abhiruchi ji, no. Okay, yes, Prince ji. No. Okay, okay. Heard? Yes, no, no. Okay. Not many. Okay. Let's take another example. Okay. How many of you have heard the movie Dangal? Do you know the movie Dangal? Amir Khan. There's Amir Khan, and there is yeah. There's Fatima Sana, and there is Sania Malhotra, the two girls, as his daughter. Dangal. Everyone heard it, right? Exactly. Why I took these two examples right now is to clarify the concept, ki even if you are trying to do storytelling, okay, you have to make sure, that you pick up concepts, you pick up topics, you pick up movies, you pick up stories, which everybody, okay, everybody, has heard about. All right. Uh, Yes, definitely. Read Hansel's story as well, watch Dangal. Definitely, that's great. Okay, so again, you pick up concepts like this, Dangal, is a movie which talks about a father, who pushes their daughters, into the world, of let's say a kushti, what we say, right? Which is very unseen in case of, females. right? He breaks the stereotypes, in the society. He trains them, and he develops, their full potential, due to which right now, their work, the name, is famous in entire India, and let's say across the country. There's a movie on the same as well, right? That too enacted by, Amir Khan, right? Exactly, forgot. I think it's Deepa or some, forgot, is I forgot the name, Ramaji, but yes, forgots exactly in real life, right? So Dangal is a movie again, which can be taken, as a story, as an example, a real life example and a real life example of movie, right? Which you can tell in class to the students in a SST class, let's say, when teaching the concept of, stereotyping and feminism, right? So again, you have to take those things which people are familiarized about, so they're able to connect. Now, after you tell the story of Dangal and the Fogats in your SST classroom, do you think the students will be able to remember the concept of feminism and stereotyping after 10 classes also? I think the answer will be yes. Yeah, because it's the way of teaching. Students connect not with the words feminism. They will just say, oh, we had that one class on Dangal, right? It's okay, I don't have any other example. I can write the example of Dangal and the Fogats. Ma'am told in class, no, we even saw the movie clip on the projector. That is how storytelling works. Familiarity is very important, right? Again, that is the basic concept, of storytelling. A very simple term, yet very effective at its core when understood in depth. Okay. All right. Now, if we see here, okay, uh, even subjects like, math and science, right? It's not outside the world of human experience or the art of storytelling. They are woven into the fabric of our lives in ways of which we may not be aware. Stories help teachers reach novices in ways they cannot with other dry, rote, deductive strategies. They bring disparate information to life in a meaningful and connected way. Okay, so even other subjects, not only theoretical subjects, like English, or SST can be connected with storytelling. Even subjects like, biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, all these subjects from A to Z, it can be connected, with the thread of storytelling. You just have to discover the right way for your subject, right? So something which you all can see on the screen is, if you are a principal, if you are a coordinator, if you are a teacher and you're teaching any grade or any classes, be aware that storytelling is a concept not meant only for English or only for kindergarten classes, but the same is also done in the higher level classes. As I gave right now the example of, concepts like feminism, racism, you can take more examples like this, right? Wherein, you talk about, various issues which are existent, maybe let's say the drought, I was just reading about this one place, I think in Colombia, okay, today. It was written that, that particular place, in Colombia or Russia, it's basically, affected with drought all throughout the year. Okay, and because of severe drought, and famine, the place is so inhabitable, that the people who are living there are also facing too many issues. Pollution is high, there's no vegetation properly, there's this lack of facilities which are needed for the basic human life. And again, this particular news which I read today can, can be connected, in the geography class with storytelling. You tell me, can't it be connected? A real life example narrated in the form of a story. You have to narrate it in a manner that it becomes a story, for the people who hear. Maybe you start like this, that there is a place outside India in another country which faces these kind of things, and this is the fact and that is the fact, and then you tell them that, okay, it's Russia or Colombia and this is a particular place which faces, and these are the geographical facts because of which, the place faces too severe climatic condition, or drought, or the famine. Just giving another example, the daily news, even the simple news, which you read in your daily life, can also be connected, with your own subject in some manner or the other. You can use this example, with your geography classes if you are studying maybe soil and climate, and connect the same to it, right? This way, what you are doing is you are practicing storytelling. You are taking news updates, for your teaching, which makes you and your students updated, with what's happening today. And moreover, you also teach them the concepts, of all these things, in a very easy, and effective manner, which makes them remember these things, even later when they give the exams, that okay, we discussed this in that class, with example, and we saw the video. right? As we already know, walk learning model, the visual, audio, and the kinesthetic learning model. The model came up because human mind works in a certain way. We are more of a visual being, right? We see things, we like to see things. If I am here with a PPT on the screen, because I know that we are human beings and we are more of a visual beings. I'm speaking because we know that, okay, auditory, it's something which makes people interested rather than reading what is there on the screen. Let's listen to what Harsha is saying. That is how the human brain works, right? And the concept of storytelling you can connect right now. Okay, again, this is the very basics of the storytelling as we discussed right now. I'll just see the chat box. Yes, Hemanji. So if let's say you are a history teacher and you're teaching French Revolution, right? What type of story is important and why? What is its source? If you're asking, sir, I'll just add on a little to the point that if you're teaching French Revolution, there are many important, events in every revolution, right? That this was the remarkable event, okay, or that was a remarkable event. For example, in the Indian, history, the spy mutiny, all the history teachers might be knowing, I think 1857 was the date. The spy mutiny was a very remarkable historic event which happened for India's independence, right? Take up the remarkable events from all the revolutions and construct a story that, okay, there were this many families who were involved in this kind of revolution. And tell them the entire thing, not just what is mentioned in the history book. History book tells the student, huh, spy mutiny tha, spy mutiny mein soldiers did this, and this was the date and this was the result. That is all history book tells you. If you go an extra mile and if you research on Google, or maybe read some other books, you will get to know that spy mutiny may the intricate details of the story which you need. That, okay, spy mutiny was not something which was done in one day. It was something which was, yeah, correlation of events. Exactly, Chandesh, exactly, thank you for that point. You have to correlate various events to make it a story and tell the students, right? So that they remember. You can make it fun. Humor is a very good way to make someone learn. Make it humorous, construct it in a manner which is humorous in nature. French Revolution, okay, this happened, that happened, and then this person came who was called with the name of, let's say, George. And then George did this, he stood an army of 50 people. So tell it in a very easy manner. History book summarizes all of this in 5 pages. Try to tell them, in one paragraph, the entire thing in very simple terms. Okay, this man came and the army size for 10,000 and the army fought with this and then this happened. It's the way you speak. Storytelling has a lot of intricate details involved, as I say. It's the way you communicate, the way you involve humor. Um, Manjinder ji, coming to the point, where you involve humor and the way you act, okay, the way you show your expressions to students. If you make it simplified for them, I think you actually won the war, of storytelling, or you understood the concept of storytelling in detail. Manjinder ji, ma'am, is storytelling only make a story related topic or related to an story? Ma'am, Manjinder ji, basically, storytelling is just not something which is already existing. As I told you can also make up a story around the topic to make students understand the concept. Okay, so let's say, Manjinder ji, you are a chemistry teacher. Okay, you are a chemistry teacher and you don't understand how do I construct a story around atoms and ions and the formulas, right? So okay, I have examples for chemistry and mathematics because I know these are like two tough subjects to construct stories around. Give me some time. I promise I have good examples for the same, which are there in my slides and later in the webinar. So I don't want to discuss it now, because it will break the flow, but we'll come back to it. The examples for maths and chemistry and physics, especially. Yeah, exactly, Diluji. Definitely, definitely makes sense. We'll discuss examples for the same. It's very interesting, I hope you all enjoy it. Okay, well, coming back to our concept and the PPT, NEP 2020, National Education Policy, which came on 27th of June or July, I think, and adopted in 2020 to make reformations in the Indian education system, right, and to make it more exclusive, or let's say inclusive, and catch up, with the, world outside. It also talks about storytelling, as a concept. And what does it exactly say? In all levels, Experiential learning, that is learning by experience, will be emphasized, including hands-on learning, that is practical learning, arts integrated approach using art, craft, color, and creativity to learn, and sport integrated education, using sports, activities, to make students learn. Storytelling based pedagogy, among others, as standard pedagogy within each subject, and with explorations of relations among different subjects. So what I just read is basically what the NEP, or the National Education Policy 2020, says about storytelling. So again, if some of you don't know, storytelling is a concept which just didn't came from anywhere, but it's a very, very old concept, which existed from ages, right? Even when, if we talk about our own history, right? 500 years back also, the concept of storytelling was there, though not recognized, as a separate distinct concept. People used to teach their children. Parents used to impart their knowledge of pottery and craftsmanship to their children by telling, the stories about the lineage, of how their grandfather, how their great grandfather, was the best potter in the entire city, right? Or how they were the best, craftspeople in the entire city. How their grandmother used to, craft jewelry, for the king's mother or the queen's mother. And these kind of stories, which comes, with a spice of lineage, has always been imparted to the kids, to make them learn the profession of their parents, especially, during historical times. So you have to understand this, as storytelling is not a concept which came with the NEP 2020. It existed before it as well. Okay, it historically existed. NEP 2020 just reinforced the concept of storytelling to tell teachers that, okay, teachers, enough of book learning and rote learning. Try and make the students learn with something which is beyond books and beyond academics, right? Because that is not working. Students are coming out dumb and average, and hence you have to adopt different methods to make them catch up, to the world at large. Okay, that is how storytelling came, and this is what, as you see on the screen, is NEP 2020 says about storytelling. So storytelling basically comes under experiential learning umbrella. Okay, experiential learning का जो umbrella है NEP 2020 में, it covers many topics. Art integrated learning, practical learning, sports integrated learning, and storytelling is one of them under the experiential learning umbrella. Experiential learning is learning by experience, learning by doing things, learning by witnessing something, feeling something, right? Learning by creativity, everything is experiential learning. Okay. Okay. There is the origination of storytelling as well. You all can see on the screen, right? So storytelling originated with visual stories such as cave drawings, and then shifted to oral traditions, in which stories were passed down from generation to generation by word of mouth. There was then a shift of words formed into narratives, including written, printed, and typed stories, right? So you have to understand, a little history or a background as well, that okay, storytelling, evolved ages and ages ago. Okay, the Harappa civilization or the Mesopotamian civilization, even they did storytelling in their own way when they had seals, drawings carved on, cement steels, which are still, preserved till today in many museums, across, right? So cave drawings se chalu hoke traditions mein aaya, oral traditions, as I just explained to you, you carry the family lineage. Okay, that if you are doing this, you have to do this. Your father did that, so you have to carry the same tradition, or things ahead, right? uh, Again, this is basically how, storytelling came into practice. Okay, and then there was a shift of words, which was formed later into stories, narratives, fictional stories, real life stories, jotted down in the form of notes, printed, written, typed form, or by word of mouth itself in the verbal form, TED talks, etc. Again, we live in a digital era. Okay, so that is how the concept came into picture, and we are still studying about it today. Tajinder ji, sure. I'll talk to the team about this. Yeah, experiential learning, one webinar, definitely. Okay. So just doing a breadcrumb navigation, what we did in the last 20 minutes, we learned about storytelling as a concept, the definition of it. We learned about the storytelling, basically, how comes under NEP 2020 as well, and a little history, about storytelling. And we talked about, little examples, how you as a teacher can connect, daily news, daily updates, which you see on Instagram or Twitter or on your Apple News feed, can also connect the same, in the form of stories to the topic you are trying to teach today, right? That is basically a navigation of what we learned till now. Okay, yeah, moving ahead, I was talking about Hansel, and Gretel, right? Hansel and Gretel is basically a children, let's say, story, right? It's kind of a kindergarten, or children's story. Again, many of you haven't heard about it, as I saw, but yeah, if you haven't, here is a little description here. So Hansel and Gretel is basically, a book which gives you life lessons, right, in the form of storytelling. So they will tell you a story, and within the story, they will give you lessons of life, that you have to be, let's say, honest, you have to maintain integrity. Problems are always there in front of a person at hand, but you have to face the problems, with a lot of courage. Yeah. Mainly, Hansel and Gretel ka jo story hai, it was meant to scare children from wandering off in the woods. So the story was written around, in very, very old times, right? Around 100, 200 years back. And at that time, when people used to live, in between, forest and villages, to make students, scare, that you don't have to go in the woods at night, because there are animals, and some kind of, dacoity or anything, can happen to them. So to ward children off from forest, the story of Hansel and Gretel was created. And there were various life lessons as well, which is integrated into the story. Again, telling a story is a tangible example of how legends and myths make storytelling that much more valuable to an audience, right? So this is just one example I wanted to present to all of you. Hansel and Gretel. You can search about it in Google as well. You will get many audiobooks, videos, summary, previews, reviews about the same. So yeah, this is another book, which practices storytelling for giving life lessons. SST, basically. UP Social Studies can connect it. Yeah, SST. Uh, Moving ahead, okay. Discussing about the importance of storytelling, right? Storytelling, first of all, follows the VARK learning model. VARK learning model kya hai? V stands for visual, A stands for auditory, K stands for kinesthetic. Okay? VARK learning model basically talks about that each and every learner in the class is different, and since all the learners are different, they have to be catered, in different manners. Okay, in varied manners. Okay, so agar my class has, let's say, 60 students, okay, definitely all the students I can't expect, yeah, I'll bring the pen and paper and everybody will take down notes and everybody will, excel in the studies and, top in the examination. So what I do is I try to, culminate concepts like, Netflix documentaries, crime videos, some series, some movies like Dangal or Tare Zameen Par. Amir Khan has very good, movie history, with great conclusions for parents and students, right? Three Idiots, one of my favorite movies of all times, right? All these kind of things, can be shown to students to give certain kind of lessons, which you want them to learn, in the subject and in life as well. Okay, so that's basically, visual auditory learners. And then we have the kinesthetic learners who learn by doing, practicing, experiential learning. Okay, so you give them activities, you give them projects, let's say physics class hai. So you give them a project, in physics, okay, to maybe I don't know, maybe make a motor car or an engine and display the speed of it, calculate the velocity of it, etc. Right? Just a small motor car, which is a dummy model. So these kind of things, when you do or make your students do, it's basically, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learning. Now, how storytelling involves all of this is, when you are practicing storytelling in classrooms, one thing you always do is, when you tell a story, right, you make students, hear it. That's auditory, right? You might even show a video for the same, that is visual. And sometimes some teachers, what happens is, they make students do role play on the story. Okay, so you create a story around a particular concept or topic, and then you tell the students that, okay, this is the particular story and topic I've created. These are the characters in my story which I have created. Now you, as a group of students, let's say 5 or 6 students as a group, have to enact this tomorrow in class. So what is happening in class? You are practicing storytelling. You are practicing the VARK learning model, because students are learning by doing as well. All the students are enjoying the class as well. And moreover, the students who are enacting the story, are actually feeling, the same, that okay, my character is of, let's say, Prerna, or my character is of, let's say, Raj, right? And my character sketch is this. I have to perform this way. So when you perform in art, when you perform these kinds of things in class, you actually imagine it, you actually live it, you actually experience it, and it's something, you won't forget even if you pass out of standard 9 or standard 10 and go to standard 11, right? That is how effective, storytelling is. Again, a very broad term covering, a lot of things, as we discussed right now, right? That is the first importance of it. Second, retention of interest, as you all can see on the screen, right? One of the major benefits, of the concept of storytelling is it helps the people to retain their interest, to create interest, to maintain that interest. Okay, when, as a person, I emotionally invest myself into something. Okay, if I'm doing a role play, if I'm doing, a freeze frame in classroom, I emotionally and physically invest myself into it. And when I do that and I see my peers doing that in front of the class, it creates interest, okay, oh my god, something new is gonna happen today, right? This is a very simple brief example again, of how storytelling can also bring interest in the classroom. Okay, if you teach, let's say, a concept, okay, so let's say, if you are okay, if you're teaching about Stephen Hawking's, right? If you're teaching about Stephen Hawkins, in classroom, you might use, a book, which has, let's say, a chapter on him. Okay, these are its discoveries, and this is what he did. Rather than teaching that topic in 2 or 3 classes, show them the movie Theory of Time, which is on the life of Stephen Hawking, who was a great scientist. Okay, Stephen Hawking, okay, the scientist who got paralyzed, okay, but still didn't stop, and made great contributions and discoveries to the world. Okay, so if you don't know about Stephen Hawkins, many of you, you have to update yourself, about these kind of people, right? Stephen Hawking's kone hai, and who is Elon Musk. I hope you all know these names, because it's very important you keep yourself updated, right? uh, Amit ji, I agree, sir, that syllabus may, you feel that with this method you can't complete the syllabus, right? I know there's a lot of pressure on teachers for the same. But what I always say in my webinars is you don't have to use the entire 40 minutes of your classroom, in storytelling. These are all just, certain techniques which you can use in classroom. See, when we talk about, storytelling, art integrated learning, it doesn't tell the teachers, sir, that you have to use the entire 40-50 minutes into the same thing or every day. Storytelling, art integrated learning, sport integrated learning, these are techniques. Okay, techniques, which you can use, for 10 minutes or 15 minutes in between your classroom. Okay, and you don't have to explicitly say or tell, okay, I'm practicing storytelling now. It's just something, you integrate in the form, of a learning with the chapter, or with whatever you're teaching right now in class, whatever topic. So use 5 minutes, use 10 minutes of your classroom for these things. But I know the way Indian education system is designed, sir, you are not wrong at all. It's a lot of pressure on teachers. I've seen my own professors, running with time, running with schedule so that you have to complete the portion. So understanding the same and talking on practical terms, use just a little time, 5-10 minutes, show them a movie, show them this movie, The Theory of Time, or give them homework. Tomorrow, you have to come by watching The Theory of Time. It's a movie, everybody will at least watch with interest. Tell them, today after 3 p.m., we are going to the auditorium to watch The Theory of Time. Watch the movie, and then after watching the movie, we'll have a great fun discussion in class. Okay. One day in a week, 10 minutes in a class, it's all you need. Yeah. Oh, no worries, Amit. Thank you for picking up that point. Okay, this is how it should be carried out. All these, activities which we discuss. Again, some other benefits of storytelling, which I, have come across in various articles, journals, research papers. It improves listening skills. Obviously, if you are storytelling, if you're practicing the art of storytelling and you're telling stories, you're performing tableau, freeze frame, role play, role on the wall, all these activity in class, what is happening? Kahin na kahin you are trying to culminate, in each and every student, a creative, imaginative thinking, Students are able to think, on a broad perspective when you do these things, right? They listen carefully, because they have to connect with the story whatever you are telling. There's a cultural understanding when you give examples of different cultures, places, things, they become more and more open, and acceptable of different cultures, different places, right? Communication skills enhance hota hai. Obviously, if you are a teacher who is practicing storytelling in class, and you give them activities like, after each class, or after each 10-15 minutes of storytelling, you have to tell me as a student what was the basic crux, of this topic. Okay, so if I tell a story today around the concept of algebra, okay, if I tell a story today around the concept of the let's say, atom or ion, right? Or maybe biology, let's say plant system, human, human biological system, human anatomy, etc. What I'm trying to do is, 10-15 minutes I told the students the story, and now I tell the students to think on a broad perspective, to listen to me carefully, and tell me what was the crux of the story, what are the important pointers I'm about to discuss, after this. Okay, carry the discussion ahead in the class. Okay, make each and every student stand up, give them time to think, and tell one word, which makes sense to whatever you told, right? This way what will happen is everybody will be active, in class. And when some students get appreciation for the right answer, it's a kind of a motivation for them as well. Okay. But memory retention, obviously, if you show today in a class Tare Zameen Par, Dangal, and all these movies, or various Netflix documentaries, related to crime, etc., for giving them certain lessons which might be related to your topic directly, indirectly, students remember these kind of things, right? They will remember that the teacher told me to watch the theory of time that day because he wanted to teach me the life history or autobiography of Stephen Hawking, right? So these kind of things, help students to retain the concepts, in their memories, because they are the ones who are listening, they are the ones who are answering, they are the ones who are experiencing the same as well. Yeah. Again, greater social skills, of course. Storytelling involves a lot of group activities as well. As a teacher, you can plan a lot of stuff for students in the classroom, right? Students gain a lot of, a lot many social skills actually with the help of this concept, because they get to, they get to mingle with different people, for different topics and concepts, right? So if there's a movie day in school, right, related to a particular topic, students will talk about it with each other, they will tell their other friends, and they will meet, they will have fun, they will have a gala time. Interaction, communication, it's happening, right, directly or indirectly. You make them role play in class. What is happening? They're coordinating with the group, right? You tell them, after you go home, I will give you a particular assignment on the story which I told all of you today. Now, even if the student didn't heard the concept in class, the student will make sure that tomorrow the teacher is going to check each and everyone's assignment, right? So what the student will do, at least if I haven't heard the story in class for the first 10 minutes, I will ask my other friends by calling them, oi, please meko bata de what happened in class today, I didn't heard what the teacher said, or I missed the starting 5 minutes, of the lecture, right? So social skills, somehow improve indirectly and directly as well, when you carry storytelling in classrooms, right? Even the student didn't heard in classroom, giving assignments when they go back, a short fun assignments, maybe by using the homework app, right? You can give them gamified assignments, etc., with the help of the same, just, in 30 seconds. So giving such kind of things to students, after they go home, can actually make personalized learning happen, and they will actually try to, mingle with other people to know what happened in class today and keep themselves updated. Okay. Those were some importance, of storytelling as we discussed right now. Yeah. Okay, some interesting examples. This is the one of the best part of the webinar today, is the examples. Okay. For mathematics teacher, if on call there are, some mathematics teachers, for you, often I have received questions, maths may, how do we do storytelling? So ma'am, let me tell you, there are various books, which are available which you can use, for storytelling for a particular concept. Just take one class. I'm not telling you to take, 100 classes. Just take one class before the 10 classes, of algebra the next week, or the week after that, and use these kind of books. Okay, so one book I have in hand is The Secrets, Lies, and Algebra. Okay, is by Wendy Lichman. So what is it? Is basically a story about an ordinary girl who is very, very into mathematics. And the way this book is written, there are many concepts of algebra, which are reinforced by the author, in between the story or in between the book. Okay, so you can see, a basic summary of the book right here, on the screen. So one of the, books which you can use in mathematics classroom, for the purpose of storytelling. Okay, if you are teaching the concept of algebra, if you are teaching any other concept, again, if you search on Google, you will get many other books, related to the same. Right. What you can do is not tell the students to read these books, but just take the beginning 15 or 20 minutes, of the classroom, give the students a summary of the book, and use the concepts, which are there in the book for probability and algebra in the form of a story, right? So that the students remember, oh, algebra class mein, it's the first algebra class in which sir or ma'am didn't came with numbers or x and y, but they came with a story, and I remember that story of algebra, and I remember the concepts and formulas as well, right? So use 10 minutes or 20 minutes in a effective manner is all I'm wanting to say. Be smart, right? Give them the summary, show them the character sketches, of each, on the projector quickly, right? And show them these are the formulas, these are the things which the author is trying to connect to algebra from this book. So what we learn, the first thing about algebra is the lessons from this, and more we will do in the coming classes. Mathematics teachers, something for you, an idea, something existing, go on Google, search these kind of things, these kind of books for different topics, you will get a lot many. Okay. Definitely, Christina ji. Definitely, jumble words again. Exactly, Minakshi ji. You just told my point. Yes. Just a short, summary, or an epitome of the entire concept what you are about to say in the first 10 minutes, and it should be that humorous and that fun, that it makes the next 30 minutes like wow. It should be smooth for the students. Okay. This is the first example. The second example, which we are, oh, I have a short video for all of you. What's the time? Okay, it's 6:41. I have a short example here, okay, in which, it's a 4 minutes video. And in this, teachers basically show, how storytelling is done in classes, with so much effectivity and what are the benefits of it. It's a real life example of a school. I'll share the link in the chat box. Oh my God, what did I do? Okay, I'm sorry. Just present my screen again. Okay. So this video link I will share in the chat box with all of you. All right. Share. I'll copy the same and I'll share with all of you. So this video basically talks about, a school, which practices storytelling as a concept. And yeah, the teachers, etc., they follow storytelling as a concept and how effective it is, for their schools, right? I have the link right here. And now I will. Uh, oh, sorry, the video started. Just a minute. Okay, yeah. Here's the video link, which you can see on the screen. Since I don't have time, no, I'm not playing. I'm not playing the video, sir. I'll just share the link with all of you. Just give me 1 minute. Sharing everyone in the meeting. Yeah. Here's the YouTube link for the video. Okay. See this video. It's a 4 minutes video, a good video. It's a very old video, but I found it a good video, the way they are practicing storytelling, in a very simple, rote format, right? I couldn't find many interesting videos on the same. There were many TED talks, and other talks, but those were very long videos. So I found this one good video, of storytelling, which you can watch later. All right. The link is in the chat box. I would have shown, but we don't have much time and I have a lot to cover. So I want all of you to watch the video, after the webinar. All right. Um, another example of storytelling is you enact out stories, right? So enact out a story, how algebra, probability. Oh yes, this is very interesting. There was this one video on YouTube, from a classroom from Odisha. Okay, Odisha or Orissa, I don't know how you pronounce it. Orissa or Odisha, right? So Odisha or Orissa, there was this one school, wherein a math professor of standard 9 or 10 used storytelling in his math classes. Okay, so before the beginning of every chapter, what the professor does is he is very smart. Okay, this professor actually tells his student that tomorrow we are going to start the concept of probability, or concept of trigonometry, or let's say the concept of BODMAS, or whatever concept you are teaching in class. And he tells his student to come with a story. So you as a professor are not doing storytelling. You tell your students that come with a story tomorrow, how the concept of probability helps you in your day-to-day lives. Maybe enact a scenario of a vendor, right? You go to a shopkeeper and you are a customer, right? So these kind of scenarios wherein you can show that the probability, how you give discounts, right? Discounts कैसे देते हैं, probability क्या है, what is algebra, and how do you enact these concepts in the day to day life to make them understand the real life value of these concepts. Okay, many other games, or let's say gambling games, like the card games, the poker, it depends upon the concept of probability. Okay, it totally depends upon probability. So how these concepts actually help people across in real life, and have real life let's say scenarios existing out there. The best poker players in the world are the people who can do probability in 1 second, which we can't do even in 30 minutes on pen and paper. That is how fast people are mentally. And any games you play, mostly the card games, pokers, gambling, it mostly depends upon the concept of probability. So you can show these kind of examples to them, right? That how much real life implications these topics have. Tell your students to come with a story, okay, and tell them to enact a story before you start the topic. All right. Teachers, I request all of you to keep a little patience because it's just 6:45. We send the attendance link by 7 or 7:05 p.m. So I really, really request all of you to just, be a little patient with me, and maybe try to, hear out whatever I'm saying and be connect a little to it. And yes, give me suggestions as well. Yeah. Oh, that's great, Sheetal ji. That's great. That's great. That's great. That's great, Principal G. Okay. That's great. Everyone, whosoever did this are actually great. Yeah. Okay. So enacting out stories, right? Again, another thing can be, you enact out human biological system, and show what happens when the organ fails. So you tell a group of students, that tomorrow we are going to start the human anatomy. And when I'm going to start the human anatomy, one group has to behave like the parts of a female, and one group has to behave like the anatomical parts of a male. And you have to show how both the parts are different, maybe by verbal expressions, or by drawing or by art. And then you have to also point out the differences between each of them. So what you do basically is, in the first 30 minutes of the classroom only, you summarize the entire chapter and a difference between both the anatomical systems of the bodies of male and female, and all the concepts which you wanted to tell them in class. Okay, so these kind of things are actually very helpful when it comes to storytelling. Another example, okay, this is a very, very interesting example. uh, can you tell me what do you see in the image? I know there are some writings on the screen, but I want all of you to be honest and tell me what do you see on the screen. One word quickly, you all know what is there on the screen, the picture. Definitely, Kishorji, you can use anything sir you want. Mummy, exactly. And what is a mummy? There's an Egyptian mummy picture, on the screen, right? There's a coffin and there's a mummy inside it. For those of you who don't know what's mummy is basically, an Egyptian, way of keeping a dead body, in which they wrap around the dead body of a person with various oils and, balms and, linen, and preserve it for millions of years. Exactly. It's Tutankhamun tombs. Okay, Sandhya ji, hats off for that response. It's Tutankhamun's, mummy. It was a historical discovery. It was a historical discovery. Tutankhamun, exactly. He was one of the most famous and youngest, Egyptian rulers, Tutankhamun. Okay. This is one example, I took again for storytelling. You make the images, live in the classroom, make them live the images. Okay. King Tut, coffin and the discovery shown here. What you can do with this image in class is you construct a story. Okay, you don't tell students the name. Okay, you construct a story about the king, his reign, how he died, and this is basically for the history class. So if you are explaining about the Egyptian civilization, you can use this as one of the events to explain them about King Tut reign. Okay, by showing the picture, you create a story, you show the picture, and you tell them to guess, and you show them certain videos of excavation, of king tuts, or coffin, or tomb. Okay, how it can help the chemistry teachers? Chemistry teachers can also use, these kind of things, in their classes, to tell the students about, which kind of chemicals and oils and which kind of balms, they created with chemical composition, which preserves the body for hundreds and thousands of years. That's how strong, the role of chemicals are in a person's life. Nobody connects, subjects like chemistry and physics, to real life examples, but these are the real life examples. Chemistry, it's so important. Without chemistry, without chemicals, the entire embalming technique, the entire mummification technique of the Egyptians would have failed, right? So you can use these kind of examples from history and current topics, right? Why chemistry is so important. Again, science teachers, something to worth pay attention, right? um Okay, there's a Dutch company called Light Years. Everyone, okay, let me tell you another example, right? There's a Dutch company, called Light Years. Light Years, today the news came in the morning that the Dutch company Light Years, which is an automobile manufacturing company, okay, so automobile manufacturing company has created a car which runs on solar panels. And to this point, I would like to thank you, Christina ji, who brought up the point for solar panels. Okay, so this particular company, is using solar panels to run their cars, and the cars are so effective that they can run for months, without charging. A car running via solar panels, first time in the mankind history. Okay, again, something I read today morning. So one lesson for all the teachers: read news, teachers, every day, in India, out of India. Even if you don't want to read it. Something is new everywhere. I couldn't even think, that the examples I read in the morning, I'll connect the news I read in the morning, I'll be able to connect it here as well. See Instagram, see Twitter, see Apple feed, see news, right? Connect these examples, make news, make the use of news. Okay, you can use this in chemistry. Chemistry teachers use these kind of things, that okay, chemistry is so important. These were the chemicals they used. This is the chemical name for it. Students will remember it, right? Biology teachers can also use this coffin example of Tutankhamen or any famous, kings and queens or any other thing, in which they can explain, that because of embalming, the human tissues in the body, are so efficient that they preserve themselves for thousands of years. How Egyptians used to take out the organs from the people, and they used to preserve in jars. Why were these organs so important? Teach these things, in your chemistry, biology, history class. Collaborate with each other. This one image can be used for so many subjects. That is how storytelling works. Exactly, Monoji. Again, a very great concept. Okay, so this is another example for all of you. Okay, and the last concept, for today's, webinar is basically digital storytelling. All right, digital storytelling is basically a concept, which has 8 steps in it. Okay, and we will quickly, in another 5 minutes. All right, in another 5 minutes, we will quickly discuss, all the steps, in digital storytelling. Oh, thank you so much, everyone. Means a lot, all the comments. So yeah, this is basically, something, I want to tell you. Digital storytelling is basically doing storytelling in a digital mode, right? And I just want another 5 minutes for completing this topic, so just be patient and learn something new, right? There are 8 steps in digital storytelling. Okay, okay, 8 steps. What is the first step? First step is idea. As a teacher, chemistry, physics, biology, SST, you have to first get an idea that this is my topic for today, and what can I connect my topic to? A fictional story, a real life story, a news update, an article. So first, get an idea. Second step in digital storytelling is you research on the same. Okay, if I want to connect my topic of, let's say, racism, okay, or feminism, okay, to, let's say, a real life story or a movement which happened, centuries, ago, or let's say, last century, okay, or this century, so I'll research on the same. What are the facts of the event? How many people were killed? How did the event brought change into the world, etc., etc. Now I feel feasibility for the same. I go to the third step. So idea ho gaya, right? I have an idea. And I have researched on the same. The idea is feasible. After I feel the idea is feasible, you write a script that, okay, this is my idea, this is my research, and this is my feasibility. I write a script. After writing a script, I storyboard things. There are many websites, which give you free storyboarding option, digitally. Okay. I storyboard my characters, in my story. Okay. Whatever I am picking up. After storyboarding, I try to culminate, audio, visual images, whatever is required to make that effective and interesting for students. I culminate all those things, into my lesson, right? And after that, I integrate all. I culminate all, together. The audio, the visual, the experiential learning, the assignments, or the role play, the simulation, role on the wall, and all the activities I want to do. I bring them together to make the 10 or 15 minutes of my class effective, as a storytelling class. Okay. After integrating all, I share my experiences, my activities, or whatever I have created, let's say digitally, with my students. Okay. So I go to a digital storyboarding website. I have the idea, I have the research, I create my characters. After storyboarding is done, story is done, I integrate audio, visual, characters, etc. Okay. I share it with my students, and after sharing, when the students actually perform it, when the students actually do it, I get the feedback from them. So this particular process can not only be used for digital storytelling, but normal, storytelling as well, right? That is the process of digital storytelling. We could have discussed more, in detail with a lot of more examples, but there's no time, and yeah, I think that's something, we need to stick to, right? So yeah, that's all from my end for today. We learned a lot of things, digital storytelling, and some very innovative examples how you can make your classes effective with a simple picture, with a simple video, and various teachers can collaborate, together for the same. Now, another thing, is to know, in the process of digital storytelling, when I say you have to, create a case study of your own, right? You have to create a story, a case study with pictures, audio, and share things to students, in a gamified manner. One application you can use for the same is basically the homework app. Okay. So one application which you can use for the same is basically the homework application, right? The homework application, in which you can create, your own stories in the form of case studies, right? You can create your own stories, in the form of case studies. And in these case studies, you can culminate, the crux of the topic. If your topic is algebra, you culminate algebra somewhere in between. If your topic is, let's say, feminism or racism, you culminate these kind of things, in between, with the news, with the update you read today. And you don't have to go to any of the Google website. Homework app allows you to choose. You can see there are case study questions, right? There's these kind of case study question banks, for each and every class from 1 to 10. And if you don't find, a useful case study question in here and want to create something of your own, you have the option for that as well. I'll quickly, okay, show the same. All right. So let's say if right here, there are all the chapters on the screen, and you don't want any case study questions from here, and you want to create something, of your own in mathematics. Okay. So what I'll do is the plus icon on the top right of the screen. I click on the plus icon, and you can create, your own question right here. You can see, how storytelling, how homework app also helps you to storyboard. And in storytelling, you can add your own images, you can type your questions, you can make it a subjective and MCQ question, right? You can add your options, and then you can, make a questionnaire, and send to students. Okay. Whereas if you feel that, you have to take a question which is already existing, let's say I go to the topic of real numbers. Okay. From real numbers, I select, let's say, the chapter number 3 or the concept 3. I add, let's say, 2 questions from here. Okay. These 2 questions, I felt that, was in the form of a case study, and I make it subjective in nature, right? And these kind of case, case studies will actually help the students, to understand the concepts, in greater detail. So my total questions is 2 as of now, in the form of a case study from real numbers. Okay. And I click on next, right? And after clicking on next, you can change, the date and time, of the homework. That is, you can set a deadline. Okay. And after setting a deadline, everything is okay, you can just click on create homework. After you click on create homework, you click on share homework. Now homework, you have to share to 10 standard students. Okay. So share with 10A, and you can share with your students via WhatsApp or by copy pasting the link anywhere. Okay. So I'll just copy paste the link, and maybe share in my messages. A minute. Okay. So you got the link and you got the message, after creating the homework, as you can see on the screen, right? Even if you send on WhatsApp, this is the same kind of message you can send on WhatsApp as well. Now, link to homework, as you can all see, I'll click on link to homework as a student. Okay. On clicking on link to homework as a student, I can actually see, my homework which is there for mathematics. Okay. So I'll click on my homework and you can see, the two questions, which I have added, right? As a student, I can add my answers right here. Now, as and when as a student, I add my answers right here, I can actually go back to the application and see, as a teacher, how many submissions are there, how many submissions need to be corrected, right? Or, the reports, of the students as well. So you can see, the app creates automatic reports, automatic, corrections are done, and everything is done by the application itself. So this is just, one application, which is very effective for storyboarding and the concept of storytelling as well, on a digital mode, right? Just give me 1 minute. Before sharing the attendance link, I will show all of you how to fill the attendance link, and join the WhatsApp group, right? So that you don't get confused later. Okay. Just give me 1 minute. I'll share the screen for the attendance link, how to fill the same with all of you right now. So how was the session today for all of you? Everybody was able to connect and find something new in whatever I taught. And how was it? I just want to get a little feedback from all of you till I share the attendance link with all of you. Okay, I'll read the chat just a minute. Um, oh, thank you so much, everyone. Interesting, wonderful. All right. Thank you. All right, thanks, Himaji. Thanks a lot. That's great. Thanks, everyone. Arunji, Ramaji. All right. Before I share the feedback link or the attendance link, right? Yeah. Okay. So for today, I will share a form link with all of you. Okay. Every teacher, I want you to hear right now very carefully. For today, I will share a form link with all of you in the chat box in another minute. Now, when you click on the form link, this is what you see on your screen. You click on the start button. All right. After you click on the start button, first you have to fill your name. Okay. Second, you have to fill your phone number. I fill a random phone number, this. Okay. You have to fill your WhatsApp phone number here. Okay. I am filling a random phone number because I don't want the certificate of the participant, right? So you fill your name, you fill your WhatsApp phone number. After filling your WhatsApp phone number, you fill your email ID. After you fill your email ID, you select your gender. After you select your gender, you type your school name, just simple information. Okay. And then you select, if you're a vice principal, teacher, tutor, whatever, you click on OK. Do you want to use the homework app officially for your school institute? Definitely, it's free access, so I want to use. And you can see the summary, of the details here on the screen. If you feel you have entered any detail wrong, because this is the detail the team is going to use, for creating your certificates. Okay. If you feel कोई भी detail गलत है इधर पे, you can go back, with the form arrows. Just go back in the form and correct your detail. If you feel there is no mistake, okay, yeah, click on continue. Okay, school started again after summer holidays, yes. And after that, you will see this option on the screen of Smart Teacher Festival. Okay, everyone, I want you all to stop texting in the chat box for 1 minute and to tell you, because I'm going to tell you something very important. Thank you for all the comments right now. Okay. Definitely, Chandirji, I will try. Definitely. I just want all of you, to listen to me for 1 minute. Can you please all do that? Just 1 minute, no text, and just listen to me. Okay, thank you. Okay, so all the teachers, all the teachers who are there on call, you will get the certificate of this webinar after filling this form. The link I am going to share in another minute. After I share the link, the form will be open till 7:15 p.m. You fill the form till 7:15 p.m. because after that, no more responses will be accepted. After you fill the form and click on the submit button, okay, you will have this option, before you click on the submit button. Do you want to participate in the Smart Teacher Festival? Okay. Now, what is the Smart Teacher Festival? It gives you the opportunity to earn cash reward worth rupees 2000 and an official certificate, from the homework app and team. Okay. So if you want to participate in this from home and get great certificates and cash rewards, you click on the yes option. All right. As you click on the yes option and click on the submit button, you will get an option to join the festival group, the Smart Teacher Festival group. Okay. So you click on join festival group and automatically you will join the group on WhatsApp. All right. So I'm sharing the form link right now with all of you in the chat box. Fill the form with the correct details, right? Here is the form link for all of you in the chat box. It's open till 7:15 p.m. And I want you all to participate in the Smart Teacher Festival as well, because it's a very great opportunity, to earn something, from home, and to actually make, learning fun, right? Uh, to all of you who opted for the Smart Teacher Festival or wants to opt for it, I will just explain. I want all of them to stay on call for another 5 minutes to understand what the Smart Teacher Festival is. Okay. So when you participate in the Smart Teacher Festival, there are two benefits. First, you earn a cash reward of 2000. And second, you get official certificate, gold, silver, bronze, etc. from the homework app and team. Okay. But for getting these two benefits from the Smart Teacher Festival, what you have to do is basically, okay, uh, yeah. So what you have to do is you have to create a minimum of 3 assignments. Okay. When you create a minimum of 3 assignments, you have to send it to different groups and get at least 30 submissions per assignment. And then you have to send the auto-generated reports, and the assessment to all the students so that they can reflect on whatever they have done in your assignments. All right. So this is basically the Smart Teacher Festival in short, right? That this is your activity which you have to do, and that is your reward. And for how many days the festival is? The festival is basically for 7 days. Okay. So if you participate, if you join the WhatsApp group, right, if you join the WhatsApp group, you will get the opportunity to participate in the Smart Teacher Festival. So please do join the WhatsApp group during the end of the form. After joining the WhatsApp group, you know that to participate in the Smart Teacher Festival, you have to do this. Okay. And when you create 3 assignments and get at least 30 submissions per assignment, right? You have to know that the team will send you, leaderboards on the group every day. Okay. Okay, 1 minute, 1 minute, everyone. I'm sending a new form link to all of you. Just 1 minute. Okay, I want all the teachers to just give me 1 minute. I'm sending a new link for the certificate. Okay. I'm sending a new certificate link, everyone. Just 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute, everyone. I'll send a new form link to all of you. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute, everyone. I'm just calling the team, to keep the form open, okay, not closed. Just 1 minute. Okay, teachers, now check if the form is open. I'm sending the link again, okay? I've called the team members. Check if the form is open, okay? I have just called the team. Yeah, this is the link. Check if the link is open and let me know. Otherwise, I'll call the team members again. Is the link open, everyone? No? Okay, okay, fine, 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 fine. I'll call the team members again. Just a minute. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience, teachers. There's some issue, I think, please have a little patience. I'm trying to resolve the issue, from my end also, right? I'm really, really trying. I'm really sorry, all of you. It never happens, right? There's some technical issue, at the side of the team. Give me 2 minutes, okay? And thank you, Manjinder ji. I'm trying as well. I was talking to the team only, on chat. They're trying to resolve the issue. Give me 1 minute. I'm getting back. Give me just 1 minute. That is why I'm keeping my camera on, right? I'm here as well. Give me 1 minute and yeah, just fill it again. Everyone just fill the form again, okay? If you have already filled, submitted and joined the WhatsApp group, it's fine. If you haven't, then just wait 2 minutes. I'm getting back, with the open link.